Since May 3rd of 2024, Kendrick Lamar has released 3 songs, 616 in LA, Meet the Grams, and Watch Party Die, all believed to be a part of a trilogy. Now, Watch Party Die was the last record that came out that was very controversial diss towards Drake and the entire industry, of Kendrick's feelings about cleaning the industry, about him not liking what he's seen, and that his win over Drake in his rap battle was far beyond personal gain, as he doesn't believe that the industry is going in a correct or positive direction. If you recall in Meet the Grams, Kendrick Lamar bar directly name-dropping Drake for shouting that he was going to crash the party. Now, the party seems to be a figure of speech, alluding to Drake's milestones and achievements throughout the year. Now, Drake has been named Billboard Artist of the Decade. He's the most streamed rapper on Spotify with over 100 billion streams. He's basically has hit every month for the past couple years, maybe on the last years. And he's the most streamed rapper on Spotify by miles and over 100 billion streams. And that's even why the song Push-Ups, when he was going at the entire industry, he said, number-wise, I'm out of here, you're not fucking creeping up. And that was very true. Even though throughout June and May, it seemed like his numbers were declining, which they temporarily were. As soon as July and August came around back in September, the numbers are back up, showing that the boy is still here. At the time of May and June of this year, it seemed that Kendrick Lamar's non-Gus rapper had done irreparable damage toward Drake's career. Drake was now being viewed as this culture vulture, this pedophile, someone who wasn't really true to the culture. He used black people to exploit his own gain. He went down to Atlanta, down to Houston, in Jamaica, in England. He's out here basically getting sauce from everyone, become more successful with it, but not actually giving credit to real places and actually giving credit to the roots or even caring about it. Now, Lecrae, who's somewhat a Christian artist and is actually one of the biggest Christian artists out there, would say something very controversial that caught a lot of steam. Drake is a fan of the culture. Kendrick is a product of the culture. It's a difference. Look, so I understand in the past couple of years that many people have had their own issues about Drake, and now it seems that in the past couple of months, or should I say in all 2024, it's been the trend of voicing your public hate and opinions towards Drake and what you don't like about him. If you hate the way he walks, he talks, or whatever it is. But for Lecrae to say this it's honestly blasphemy and laughable to me for one reason. Now, Drake comes from a bloodline of musicians from Memphis to the Deep South. His father was a former drummer and artist. His uncle was a musician as well. And Drake has cemented himself in hip-hop culture since 2009. Came in 2006 with Room for Improvement. But commercially, I would say, 2009 was So Far Gone. Then he had Thank Me Later, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same. So many hit classic albums that he's given the culture throughout the year. Now, Drake and Kendrick Lamar are 2 very important artists to the culture and have been feeding us consistently for the past 15 years. They came in the game around the same time. But for one person to say that Drake is a fan of the culture, knowing that his father literally worked with Al Green, Prince, cemented musicians worldwide, not just in rap, that's just very disingenuous. Now, it's quite obvious and not a secret at all that the most diabolical diss record to come out was Meet the Grams, as in the first verse of the song, he's taking a shot at Adonis, saying, "Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father, let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man, your dad is not responsive," which is him alluding to the fact that obviously when Adonis was born, Drake didn't tell the public because he had a child with a P-star. He wasn't entirely sure if it was his. He said in multiple interviews that he had to run 2, 3, 4 DNA tests in multiple companies. And then later down in that same verse, he would say, "You're a good kid that needs good leadership. Let me be your mentor since your daddy don't teach you shit." Talking about Drake is a horrible person. You know, in this whole theme of the song, Meet the Grams, he's going at each individual person, a part of Drake's nuclear family, from his father, Dennis, his mother, Sandra, his son, Adonis, and of course, with the 4th verse, going at his hypothetical fake daughter, which many people seem not to care about. But let's get into right now how these 3 songs connect to each other and lead to Kendrick Lamar's dark era. It's widely believed online that 616 in LA, Meet the Grams, and Watch Party Die were all a part of a 3-part trilogy towards the buildup of a dark Kendrick Lamar era. In the first verse of 616 in LA, Kendrick is singing and he sounds more free and less determined to change than ever. Then he asks God the question, "Who am I if I don't go to war?" saying that everything that he stands for as a man is in question if he doesn't go to war with evil, which is Drake. The person that he's depicted as the culture vulture, the colonizer, the misrepresentation of hip-hop, and everything wrong with black culture. And then the next line he says there's an opportunity when living with loss. And this is where he finds his justification in taking on this war, because as they say, before creation comes destruction. So the loss of Drake is what is needed for the culture to move forward. And this also piggybacks on what he said in Euphoria, how he said, "I hate the bitches you fuck because they confuse yourself with real women." So Drake is implementing himself in hip-hop culture and black culture that he believes he's not a part of. And when he does associate himself with it, it just looks very negative and he's not feeling it. Kendrick says next is that he raises his hand to a fallen sky. Now, the fallen sky usually refers to an apocalypse of some sort, but in this case, he's meaning the rap game. He's talking about taking the evil out of it because as soon as this ends, hip-hop will be in a more peaceful flow in a peaceful place. The rest of the song is Kendrick Lamar pretty much having a mental battle and talking himself into what he proclaims as the boogeyman era. In 616 in LA, Kendrick Lamar was asking for forgiveness for what he's about to do, and on Meet the Grams, he fully committed to the actions and brought to fruition what he said he would do. He had 4 letters to 4 different people to be exact. The first letter was to Adonis, Drake's son, the second to Drake's hidden daughter, the alleged 11-year-old daughter, and one was to Drake's parents, Sandra and Dennis, and the last one was to Drake, of course, himself. Now, it's very clear that Kendrick Lamar entered the boogeyman state of mind because he doesn't bother to even offer any complex word flows or any intricate rhyme schemes. He's very straight to the point, very dark, very monotonous, and lacking empathy as he was throughout the entire song. Kendrick Lamar pens a very disrespectful message opening the song towards Adonis. I'm sorry that man is your father. When I look at him, I wish your grandpa wore a condom. Talking about he wishes Dennis Graham wore a condom so that Drake would never been born, that Drake could never brought Adonis into this world, and how that he really was going to be very disrespectful towards Adonis because of his hate towards his father, and that Adonis was almost collateral damage because he was a result of having a child with a P-star, and he was only being roasted in this because Kendrick Lamar just hates Drake. And then advised him that never enter the escort business because that's bad religion, which obviously pokes a shot that Drake's, baby mother and Adonis' mother was an escort and a P-star, and that's how, he was born. Then Kendrick Lamar would cap off the verse saying, "Don't be ashamed about who you with, that's how we treat your moms. Don't have a kid to hide a kid to hide a kid again, be sure." This will be a direct reference of obviously Drake hiding his kid from the world, which we talked about on his song from Scorpion, saying that he wasn't hiding the kid from the world, he was hiding the world from his kid. And this was obviously because he got exposed on a story of Added On with Pusha T. However, he got the information that Drake had a son, which was a major exposure that messed up his whole Adidas rollout album campaign, or should I say his shoe deal that he had going on. And this was a very big exposure saying that, listen, don't be a bad person like your father who is embarrassed that he had a child with this lady who was a P-star. Be a noble kid and don't try to hide that you have another kid, which insinuates to his daughter. Kendrick would talk to Drake's parents about how Drake has some bad habits and that how he's a massive manipulator when it comes to women, and that all he cares about is money, and that he has psychological intuition, he's a psychopath, and all he has is gambling addiction and hypersexualizes women, and that he extremely hates black women. Kendrick gets to Drake's verse and says, "Dear Aubrey, I know you're probably thinking I wanted to crash your party," which I view as his success, as his accolades, as what he has going on, and everything that's going right for him. And this is what leads to our next song, Watch the Party Die. Now, we could pretty much talk about Meet the Grams and decipher every lyric, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about Watch Party Die, the most recent diss song, and why it's very controversial for the few reasons. The chorus for Watch the Party Die will be similar to some of the verses in 616 LA and Meet the Grams. Now, Kendrick would take a similar approach, asking God to give him life and to give him peace and to keep these lame ninjas away from him and to keep him shining, because what does he think that they're going to do to stop him? Now, he said that he thinks it's time to watch the party die and talked about street ninjas, corporate guys, and the rappers that were reporting lies. Now, it's unclear if he's talking about street figures like Gilly and Wallow, Cameron and Maze, people that were very vocal about their feelings towards the beef and felt that Kendrick Lamar was putting out whack music at the start of the beef, leading up to Not Like Us. Now, after Not Like Us, the opinions pretty much changed, but before that, he was giving us no lullaby stories. Euphoria wasn't really in your face like that. 616 was cool. Meet the Grams was disrespectful, but not really a hard hitter. But Not Like Us just hit the ball at the park. In verse 3 of the song, Kendrick Lamar referenced Lecrae, who's a Christian artist, because he wanted to be a more Christian rapper and thought, what should he do in this situation? Kendrick Lamar would express his frustration and feelings towards radio personalities pushing propaganda for a salary. Now, it's believed that he's talking about academics because academics is one of the biggest radio personalities, or should I say independent media, that was been involved in this beef and almost a forum for releasing Drake songs that Kendrick mentions. Now, if you look back to 616 LA, Kendrick Lamar would even name drop, I can say, I can tell the vibes are off, even academics looking compromised. And right here he's saying that he's pushing propaganda for salary. And let me know we can turn up for casualty, agony, and assault and battery. This whole song seems to be an anti-industry diss record, which is so controversial and ironic for many reasons. Now, Kendrick Lamar says that he doesn't like the industry, he really shows out. And to be fair, you rarely see Kendrick Lamar at multiple functions, and he's pretty to himself. But what I will say is, Kendrick Lamar has never missed the Met Gala. He's never missed the Grammys. He has 17 of them. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner, so he's very lyrical. He's a phenomenal writer. He grabs people's attention. He has very important contextual information that is relatable to a lot of people. And he's performing at Super Bowl this year. So what I'm trying to say is the Pulitzer Prize winner is one of the greatest, achievements you can get. And it is from an institution that's usually from school and technically, white validation. So for Kendrick Lamar to be at the Grammys, which is run by an academy, it's not like people vote for who wins, be at the Met Gala, which is run by other individuals, do campaigns for Vogue. Kendrick Lamar is one of the most quiet but biggest industry rappers ever. So him having this anti-industry record, knowing that he's front and center for Vogue magazine, he's at the Met Gala, he's at the Grammys, he's showing face at these events, it's very contradicting.